My name is Chloe Smith, and I'm here to shed light on a very important issue. Mental health has been such a big part of my life, and I can't imagine not having the resources to cope with it. We often hear about depression in adolescents and young adults, but we rarely discuss what it's like for our elders. According to WebMD, 25% of older adults experience mental illness such as depression, dementia, and anxiety. And not to mention, grew up in a time where mental health was rarely discussed. I had a discussion with Dr. Christy Abbs about the hidden challenges seniors face and why it's so crucial to have support systems in place.
Hello, I am Professor Dr. Christy Abbs, and I am a licensed clinical social worker.
What are some of the biggest challenges you see faced in dealing with mental illness with the elderly?
Oftentimes, working with the elderly, I have done home health care for over 10 years, going into their homes, working with the families, connecting them with resources. Mental illness is something that is prevalent in this population. There's lack of services and awareness. So important to identify that there can be issues with transportation. A lot of times families are working and they're not able to take that time out to get them to another appointment.
How does aging affect mental health, and how should treatment approaches vary with age?
There's definitely changes in their independence. So as we age, we start losing some of our capacities, whether that's physical or mental. So have to really think about those changes and the impact they have on them. That can lead to mental illness. So a lot of individuals that I've worked with have experienced depression. They may be sad because now they are no longer able to drive. They may no longer be able to participate in different activities that they enjoyed before, such as running, hiking, or even crocheting. So as a social worker going into the homes with the elderly, I would assess their functioning and the needs, and then help them with resources and connecting to them. A big thing also is that Alzheimer's piece that we're starting to see more of, and families have a difficult time coping and understanding those changes.
What advice would you give to families and caregivers of elderly individuals with mental illness?
So increasing awareness. So I think a lot of times families are not prepared to handle mental illness. They have not seen this in their family members prior to them aging. So being able to put out information and that this is, something that can happen during these years, and that there are services available is really critical. Providing support to the family. A lot of times we'll go in and work with the client, the elderly client, but the families need that support, education, and guidance as well. And even sometimes they need their own treatment in order to deal with mental illness. Having to take care of an elderly person and finding that their capacities are diminishing can be very difficult on family members as well. Their services for mental health can involve treatment where therapists are coming into the elderly person's home so they don't have to go into the office. There's a lot of information and services online that would be able to provide them with mental health treatment for the client and the family as well.
How can we work towards reducing the stigma around mental illness in the elderly and increase public awareness?
It's critical that we, for mental health in general, that we educate everyone to have a better understanding of what mental illness is and how it impacts people, and especially in that elderly population. I think social media is doing a better job of addressing mental illness, but they're not targeting that elderly population. And there are some differences and different developmental stages that they're going through, that they're going to need some additional support and maybe some services delivered in different ways to meet their needs. Some of the ways to do this is by presentations in different communities so that you can get the community involved, having different events that highlight the elderly and mental illness, and then also that social media piece. Really important that we're getting the right information out there and that people are able to find these resources and services easily, and the education to be able to educate themselves and what are the best practices to help their family members that are aging and have mental illness.
Recently, my grandmother opened up to me about the trauma she's endured throughout her life. I'm so open about my mental health that she felt comfortable enough to share things she's been bottling up since she was a kid. Despite her own challenges, she's dedicated her life to caring for others and putting her own mental health needs aside. Her strength and resilience is what inspired me to do this documentary.
I'm Linda Pugh. I'm Chloe Smith's grandma.
What stereotypes did you grow up with surrounding mental health, and how did this affect you?
It wasn't talked about. We never had a conversation about it. We just worked through each day as it came. You know, we got up in the morning and we put one foot in front of the other and made the best out of every day, because that's what you did back then. There weren't places around like there are today. And my dad was an alcoholic, and very abusive alcoholic to the family. So every day was a challenge, but every day was met with, we can get through this together. We all make mistakes, everybody. There isn't a person that walks this earth that hasn't had, I believe, something mental to hold them back. But as my mother said, you get up, you put one foot in front of the other. She says, and you can get through anything. You can do anything you want to do. You can be anything you want to be. And I've tried to live by that. And it got me through 73 years now. So.
What are the hardest parts of getting older?
Worrying. I think mostly that who's going to take care of Grandpa when I'm gone, and making sure, you know, who's going to be here for you guys when you need me, because I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's every older person's fear, that, you know, they don't want to leave their kids. And I've been blessed in so many ways. 6 years ago, they gave me 6 months to live, and I'm still here. Nobody's telling me what to do. I'm going to get up every morning, and I'm going to thank God for letting me open up my eyes, and I'm going to count my blessings. You know, there's things that I can't do that I used to do, and it upsets me, but that's when you ask for help. I have my grandkids here. I can always call them, and my kids.
What are some of the challenges you have faced or are currently facing?
Raising my kids, I quit school in the beginning of 8th grade, and I had to solely support them. And that was a challenge because I always worried. Coming from a family of 8, my sisters and brothers all had large families of their own and had their own challenges. So it was hard to reach out to them for help. But all in all, we did it. And we survived. So it's just a lot of love, I think, more than anything, that brings the family together.
How would you describe losing your siblings affected your mental health?
It was very hard. The only thing I think that got me through it was knowing that they weren't suffering anymore. They weren't in pain. And I still talk to them because I still feel their presence. Mm. And when I want to really scream, you know, I go out in the garage or outside and I yell at them for leaving me and not being here. But it was easier because I seen them suffer, you know. And you don't want to see anybody suffer. ever. So I think putting it in Jesus' hands and knowing he was going to take care of them. And yeah, so losing 3 and 4 days was a little bit tough. And I made them all promises that I would be here for all of their kids because we were always so close. And it took me months. It took me months to realize that I was depressed and pull myself back up. But I did it. I keep reminding myself that they're in a better place and we're all going to be together someday. You have to put one foot in front of the other. You can't give in to depression and mental health. You can't. You have to say, I'm stronger. I know I can do this. I have a lot of support. And I do have support. I look at your little face and your sister's little faces. I think I'm going to have great grandbabies one day, and I can't wait to hold them. So that keeps me going. Thinking about your life and your sisters and your cousins, that keeps me going. And Grandpa. You know, there's some days I could kick him in the butt, but I'm sure he could kick me in the butt too.
The unseen ages are the loneliest. I encourage you to have those hard conversations. It's our responsibility to reach out, support, and care for our loved ones and our community members.